To start, first, my name is Carlos Davalos. I'm part of Vision to Reality Foundation team, a team of great volunteers and engaged individuals. Here, some of you are already members, as you know, and others recently joined our community, so that's great. So Vision to Reality Foundation, who we are. So we are a local nonprofit organization, and basically our mission is to help newcomers or immigrant entrepreneurs to build or start their own businesses in our wonderful province, British Columbia, or Canada itself. For example, if you just arrived to BC from other provinces or countries and would like to start your own business but don't know how to start, this is your one-stop shop to be supported through our very active online community, where we have established business owners and many other people that just want to get started. So we are here to be of service to you to achieve your goals, your dreams, and turn your visions to reality. And well, today is a special day to everyone for Vision to Reality Foundation. Not only is our first workshop of the year, not only as I'm in front of the wonderful Winnie Hsu, but today we are excited to dive in a bit on Winnie's amazing experience and journey and knowledge. I want to say I'm grateful, I'm humbled of being to host today for Winnie's workshop, a person who I have a lot of respect and admiration. And that's just to make a quick introduction before I pass the ball to Winnie. Winnie is the founder and owner of a Nexgen accounting firm, a successful cloud-based accounting firm that has thrown its way through the small and medium-sized business community. And now, well, she has a new project and a new baby called Vision to Reality Foundation, as everybody knows. But well, so I don't want to step on more on Winnie's workshop so we can learn a bit of her knowledge. So well, everyone, here's the one and only Winnie Hsu. Winnie, let me pass you the ball and let you share your screen.
I'm going to share some business ideas, and nice to meet everybody. This is my name and our community and my company emails. So if you guys wanted to contact me directly, you can always email me or send through the community message. But what kind of people normally start small business? So sometimes when people just immigrate or maybe moved to BC from other provinces, I'm quite often get this question said, what type of people they start business? So by my personal experience, the first type is they are entrepreneurs. They're born entrepreneurs. They just hate to work for other people. They wanted to be boss all the time. They don't want to listen other people tell them what to do. They wanted to make their own decisions. So that's one type of people. They're born entrepreneurs from my personal experience. But more people actually starting business, they're not really entrepreneurs, but they're just putting a position. They're thinking about, I can make more money. I can probably do better if I'm doing something on my own than in the job situation. Or maybe they get laid off by their company, or because of COVID, their company closed down and they have to leave and they have no other choice. So basically they got pushed to that particular position. I also see a lot of immigrant or people just moved to BC, they couldn't find job. So they couldn't find jobs and they said, oh, I better start something else to earn money to support myself and my family. So there's many reasons why people, actually starting business. Of course, there's also another percentage of people, they are continually their parents' business. So they take over their parents' business and they work in the family business, and eventually their parents, retired and they just take over from their family members. So there's all kinds of people starting small business. By statistic, right now in BC, 98% of business is considered as a small, medium-sized business. And they're hiring majority of the working, populations. So it's not like 20, 30, 40 years ago, many people working for huge organizations, they hire 40,000 people, they hire 100,000 people. Right now, it's difficult to find. Of course, we have Google's, we have Microsoft, we have, Amazon's that hire like a lot of people. But many people in BC actually hired by small, medium-sized business. So there may be under, 100 employees, or maybe some of them 20 employees. Normally, small business consider they're under 25 employees, and medium size maybe from 25 to like 200. So their income is not too huge, maybe around the top one maybe 10, 20 million. The smaller one may be under $1 million. There are some small business earning like 100,000, 200,000 a year. They maybe hire one help. So this is what we see actually happening. So many people come here, they're thinking, oh, I start a business so difficult. I don't know what to do. And they take certain type of people to start business. Actually, everybody can start a business. Even myself, just basically almost like a ease into the business, not like I'm always wanted to have a business, more like just working on a job and then thinking, oh, maybe I can do better. So now I'm going to share some how my client, start their business. So I'm going to share like 3 stories about my client. I cannot mention their name, of course, but it's the situation you can hear. So one client actually had the business for more than 20 years. He was working for an engineer firm as an employee. Himself not an engineer. He just works there to helping and for designs work. And then during the 80s, 90s, when the interest rate really, really high, and he and his wife couldn't pay the mortgage because the interest rate from 6% raised to like 20% or something like around there in the late 80s, early 90s. So they have to file bankruptcy. This couple has a young baby at the time. And they don't have a place to stay. They have to basically let the bank take their house away. And then they have to move back to their relative's house, live in the basement. So basically this husband thinking, I have to have, a better way to earn money because just the income not enough to support, myself, my wife, and the baby. So he was working for somebody else and then started the business in his garage. Basically, that's how he started, so humble. And eventually he hired the first staff and then hired the second staff, the third staff. He moved his car parked on the street and turned his garage to be his home office. Or his relative's garage, not his garage, his auntie's garage. And eventually his business grew big. He has to rent an office, move out because his company becoming, growing. So this is how he started his business. And then in the 2008, we all know there's economic issues, and with the depressions, with the financial market, and also the tech market bubble burst, his company from 30 employees and dropped to 1 employee. So he has to give up the rental office, move back to his garage. And then eventually the business gradually going back. His business grows. He is able to buy an office space. So basically this business start I know this owner since he started probably second years in his business. I saw the business up and down. I saw why he doing this. And he said in the beginning, he never thought he owned a business. He just thought, like I need to earn a little bit more money to help my family. So this is one story. The second story is a young lady, probably in her late 20s when the COVID started. She was working for a large retail chain, and doing as a purchasing manager. So she actually had a really good job. She loves it. She go to different places sourcing the like dresses and materials and bags and different things for sale in that retail store. And then when COVID hit, she got laid off. So she was in her late 20s, close to 30 years old, didn't have a house, just had a fiance, and so she doesn't know what to do. During this time when she got laid off, she rethinking her strengths and what she wants to do. She said, why don't I just start a business? So she registered her company and started her business and selling stuff online. She taking orders from online and just say, oh, I have a design. And she bought some fabric and designed some dress and some bags. And she put the samples online, said, who wants to buy them? When the order coming in, and then she said, oh gosh, I have to go to buy the supplies and get people to make it. And that's how she started. So now after 3-4 years, her business grow over 6 figures for sure. And she bought her first townhouse and got married. So basically this is the success story we saw in our daily accounting business. We're just so respect her success, and we see her struggles, we see the cash flow issues, we see her business grow. She needed more money to buy the materials, to hire the people to make the stuff, and to sell them online and try to restructure her business. So there's so many things going on in one small business, but we see the success from her business, like structures. And another person I like to talk about is a 45 years old gentleman. He was working for a large telecommunication company, 20 years. And then there's a restructuring in the company because the company got bought out by a US company. And his job, basically, his position is lost. So after he got basically fired or let go, to say, your job is not here anymore. And he works in that company 20 years, has family, has everything. And then he realized, he said, what am I supposed to do? He has a package. So the package gave him some money. Maybe there's 6 months he don't have to work. He can, still have some income to support the family and himself. So this time come to the summer. And next door neighbor said, oh, I'm too old. I need somebody to mow my lawns. And can you help? So he basically just starting to help. Once he done this work, and there's other neighbors ask him, can you mow my lawns? Can you help me to do some landscapings? And then one by one, he has more friends asking him to do this job. He said, why don't I start a business? I can start a lawnmower business doing landscaping to help people to, their garden works. And that's what he started. And eventually his income replaced his, telecommunication full-time jobs income. So these, the 3 stories I like to share with you guys, because for Vision to Reality, when we start, we wanted to create an organization, let people, normal people like ourselves, to realize you don't need to be a genius. You don't need to have an MBA degree. You don't need to have a business degree to start a business. And you don't have to speak perfect English to start a business. And you don't have to born here, grow up here, to have all the connections to start your business. Just anybody, if you have that drive, you have that desire, you can start something on your own. So this basically is my, like a main message today.
And Winnie, what could you say is the patterns that you found in all these 3 individuals, for example, mindset, how the way they think? Because I assume it's not only that you start a business and you're always growing. There's always challenges in the way. So What did you find in their mindset? Any patterns did you find in those three individuals?
Yeah, so mainly this is my next slide. You guys can see. I also like to share what is the three things I think most important for entrepreneur or somebody starting a business, because even you guys know there's a 98% was a small business in BC, but normally when the business start in the first 2 years, almost close to half, they're going to close down or either shut down, bankrupt, or they're not able to continue. And around 67%, they're going to stop doing business within about 5 years. Those posts you can see in our community. We have our team did the research. We have all the graphs and all the research. Where the resource come from? That's from Government of Canada's statistic. So this is why many people are scared to start a business. They said, "Oh, if there's a half of them is going to fail, why do it, right?" So what our experience, or from my personal experience seeing so many business owners, that's the top three I can summarize. So one is to have a strong desire and dream. You really, really wanted to building a better life, to earn more money for you, support your family. Maybe you wanted to support your elder parents, or you wanted to give your kids a better future, or you wanted to just your own family, you wanted to buy a house or buy a car you really want, or maybe just take a family vacation with your loved one. So there's those kind of dreams are so strong, and you will do whatever it takes to get there. So that's one of the things I saw. The second is the mental strength. The mental strength is not mean you always really strong, said, "Oh, I'm going to do it," or very gung-ho. That's not the mental strength. The mental strength for me, the understanding for that is whenever there's challenge, obstacle, or things happening not the way you really want, and you still can pick yourself up. Or if you made the wrong decision, you lost the money, maybe you hurt somebody, or maybe your whoever started business with you and that they wanted to split with you, or maybe there's a family situation really challenge you. So even during those kind of situations, you still have the mental strength to stable yourself, to keep doing what you think is right, to keep doing what it takes to make your business work. And then the number three is the resilient, which is during the last 3 years of COVID, we'll see that. If you don't have that resilient, for me, is a willingness to change. No matter how good you are, how much you think you're the most smart person, or how much you think your business is the best idea, when the world changes, you have to change, no matter you like it or not. And there's many things we don't like during the COVID time. And every family, including myself, we all have challenges. We don't like certain change. We don't like a certain atmosphere. We don't like a certain decisions the government made, or there's a certain things, our politician made. But the things is we have to change. If the world is changing, you need to basically follow it to make the proper change, not keep against it and just say, "I don't like this." For me, most easy analogy I can give to you guys is I have a 20 years old son, and he plays different things, he see different things, he watch different things, and he has different knowledges. And when he shared with me, I'm in my age, I'm 40 years older than him. And if every single time I said, "Your way is wrong, and this is what I don't like, and you guys are stupid, or you don't respect your elders, or how come you don't listen to our experience," and we will never move forward. So no matter what you see, the things you don't like other people is doing or other generation is doing, it's try to see from their eyes, try to see if we can learn something from them. If we can pick up something for our business, we can use. So my biggest grateful things in my business is I have so many bright young people, So everybody, we can learn something. So this is my own suggestions for the top three for me. But maybe other business owner will share different, top three for them. This is just for myself to have that top three. And now, if anybody have questions, you can always, put in the chat box or just, open up your speaker, because we have a small group today, and anybody can just ask questions.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Correct.
Okay. So do you believe that almost business are born from kind of bad situation? Because you told us 3 situations that was like kind of a sad situation, and this situation maybe moved those persons to open their own business. And I know some people that have their business as well in Brazil. And all the business seems to be born from a bad situation, a desperate situation. And with this question, I would like to put another question. So, because it's so hard when you are in a bad situation, of course, you do have 2 options: give up or try something new, try to survive. In your opinion, how can we know when it's, I don't know if there is an answer for that, but anyway, how do we know when it's the correct time?
So my answer to your question, they never have a correct time. just anytime you can start. I shared the 3 stories because those people put in the position they have to start a business. But we also have many other clients. They start a business because they were working for somebody in a trade, or maybe they're plumbers, or they're engineers, or they're architects. They all working for a firm, but eventually they realize if they're going to do the similar work on their own, they can serve other people better. They can serve their customer better. So they're not in the bad situation. They have to start a business just because they're thinking, I have a better idea to serve the customers in my industry. So that's why they start. We have a plumbers in our business. We also have 3 students. They were more like a movie production type of a student in college. So they were classmates. And then after they graduated, they said, oh, this movie industry should be great. So they all go to the movie side to be the extras, to take some pictures, whatever. And then they realize, oh, there's an area we can do, because the lightings, all the movie set, they need lightings, because if they're shooting the movie or commercials, that's these 3 young guys in their early 20s. They just say, we can start it, because we took the college course. We know how to set those lightings. So they start their movie or commercial lighting business, and are quite successful. And we saw their income. So all 3 of them, they have pretty good income, even they split to 3 of them. So there's many business. They're not starting because they're desperate, or they be put in a tough situation. So probably I should choose a different story to share. There's many other type of ways that people are starting a business. But I would say there's never going to have the right time. And if you're constantly thinking about the right time to start something, they will never have that chance. Just like you're having a baby. And we have friends, they were married for like 8 years. And in the beginning, they said, oh, we better pay off our student loan before we have baby. And then they bought an apartment. They said, oh, we better pay off our mortgage before we have baby. And then the husband is starting a small business. They said, oh, we'll just wait until his business a little bit established, and then we have baby. And after 8 years, they couldn't get pregnant. So after 10 years, they have to either adopting or, or choose other options. So there's never have a right time. I'm thinking if you have the desire, you're just looking for the opportunity and just start it. And action is better than just only thinking. So that's my own 2 cents for it. Any other questions?
I think Pritesh got one in his text.
In the chat box?
And yeah.
Let me take a look.
Hello. So my question is more of a sense for newcomers. Like, what measure would you take to ensure cash flows or expand customers in Lower Mainland? I notice a lot these days in today's economy, it's very hard for people to get customers. So I just wanted to bring out, what would you do in that situation to expand on that? Like, what would you do for those people that are newcomers that are not familiar with the with today, or like how to gain customers when they're new?
Because we invited one of our speakers earlier last year. Her name is Remy,
Yeah.
and she actually talking about the low budget marketing, and she shared several good points for people. They have really low budget and how they're going to creating that customer stream and use very little cash flow to do that. But now, like you guys can see, there's so many online and like digital ways. And once you have a Wi-Fi, you can creating something, you can do something through there to generating some of the awareness of your business. So many of our clients, they starting to use those lower cost ways to do their marketing, to get their name out there. And another way in the beginning for my business, I'm joining many these kind of networks. Like a breakfast network, or maybe there's a network that people can do something in the weekend together. So in those networks, I go to meet people to get to know them. So they get to know me, and then I tell them what I do. They will refer other people to me. So that's more like an in-person type of a low budget, because I go to those events and all free ones. Like I don't have money to pay for more expensive events, but in Vancouver, there's so many events free, in the weekend or evenings. You can go there to networking with different kind of people, to mingle with them, to get to know them. So that's basically how I start in the beginning, and also cultivating a couple of very close relationship and ask them to refer different clients. For my accounting business, I remember my first client, actually today, if I'm looking at our old clients, there's probably another 10 to 15 is come from the referral from that first client, because you're building that really strong relationship. Yeah. And then the client will introduce somebody else. So normally if you're starting a new business, newcomers in BC, they really don't need a lot of money to start, but you do need to have a little bit, maybe a couple of $1,000 to in the beginning, right? And also I'm highly suggested, if anybody wants to start a small business, maybe you have a job, and then on the part-time you start your business. In that way, your job will pay your rent, right? Pay your food. At the same time, you're building your own business. So for my business, exactly the same. I had a job, a full-time job in a small company in their accounting department, like doing like more like a accounts receivable clerk. And then in the evening and weekend, I'm helping somebody to do their accounting, bookkeeping, counting their receipts, and gradually my side business grow bigger. I can't work the full-time job anymore. That's why I'm shrinking them down from 5 days to 4 days, and then to 3 days. And eventually I told the boss I have to quit because I have more clients earning more money than this 3 days a job. That's how I did it. And many our other clients did the same way. So if somebody you have lower cash flow, but you do have a big dream, you wanted to start something, I would recommend you at least have a job to pay your own, basic living expenses. I rent a basement and eat ramens many times, or like noodles many times, right? So basically, live really in the low cost. At the same time, evening, weekend, I work like a crazy, basically the first 10 years I can say in my business or building the business, I probably work day and night. Many times there's no weekend, no holidays. If my client has an issue, I work until 2 a.m. to help them go extra miles. So to building that trust. But I paid that price in the first 10 years in Canada. The second 10 years, of course, I met my husband. That's the best things that happened in my life. And also the same things, the second 10 years, I can take 4 weeks of holiday each year, 8 weeks of holiday each year, 12 weeks of holiday each year, right? So that's the things I always say I'm doing some mentorship for different organizations and to the young entrepreneurs. I always say there's a price you need to pay. So either you pay now, you play later, or you play now and then you pay the price later, right? So there's always a price need to pay in anybody's life, depending on do you want to pay that price or not. Not everybody want to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody want to own company. Many people are just happy to working in a corporation, but they can be a leadership. They can be an entrepreneur mind person in a corporation. So our V2RF not only supporting the people they starting their business, we're also supporting anybody. They can be creative. They can be, innovate in a corporation. So that's why those people call it entrepreneurship. So they're not entrepreneurship, they're entrepreneurship because they're leading a project and they may be leading a department. They also can be super successful, super rewarding in their heart. So it's not everybody has to be a business owner. This is my own opinion.
Winnie, would you say that channels to find opportunities to network would be the Board of Trades, the Chambers of Commerce? Because we have several of them here in BC.
Yeah, there's a Chamber of Commerce, and there's a free events you can go. There are also, if you search online, there's many coffee groups or breakfast groups and that kind of like a really low cost. Yeah, you can go there to join the breakfast meeting and you can just buy a cup of coffee there because I've been many times and I don't have $20 to buy the expensive lunch or breakfast. I basically just maybe buy a cup of coffee, or I had a sandwich, and to eat them before I go there, I can just have a hot chocolate or something, right? So in that way, it's not cost too much, but the opportunity give you that chance to meet different people, to hear what they say, and then to make that connection. So I always believe that the human connection is most important for any new people come to Canada. Because I took that advantage when I came to Canada. I tried to learn the Canadian way. I never know who is Jesus because I came from Red China, right? So I asked my teacher, I was a poor student, I asked the teacher, I said, oh, can you share the 10 movies you guys watch in Christmas? And then I asked the teacher, I said, can you share 10 movies for me you guys watch in the Easters? So that, and my teacher is really nice and basically write down all the names that Winnie, you need to watch this movie, because that's when I was 5 years old, I watched with my family, or when I was a teenager, I watched with my family. So in that way, you get to know their culture. When they say something, a joke or there's like a proverb, and what they're talking about, because we never grew up that way, right? So this is how you get to know the local people, get to know how they feel, how they like. And so this is basically how I did it. And I'm not saying everybody has to do this. I even paid for, I remember I told one of the classmates, who was a Canadian and loves hockey. I basically just say, oh, can I buy you a cup of coffee? And I'm willing to pay $20 to buy the nosebleeding, like a Canuck game. And I'm taking you to the game. And can you explain what this hockey all about? I never even know what is hockey, don't know the rules, never been watched a hockey. And so basically at the coffee, he used the napkins to draw up the field and said, this is the blue lines. This is why the pucks need to go this way, that way, how many team members in it. But I went to the hockey game, know nothing about hockey. But the thing is that I wanted to understand. I just wanted to understand what is hockey. So at least next time my, office worker talking about hockey, I'm not a dumb. Like so that's basically how I did it. You guys can see, you choose your own ways to do it. So any other questions? Sorry.
Thank you.
Changing it, yeah.
Yeah, I think we can follow.
Okay, yeah, so we don't have too much time left, and I like to share the 3 tips that keep your business going, because earlier I shared there's a business, closed down. Normally half of them, 50% of them, or more than 50% will close down in the first 5 years. So what I feel is most important, there's so many things you could do to keep your business going, but the top 3 for me, I actually wrote down for to try to summarize what is the top 3 I feel is most important for a business grow and keep going. So number 1, it's always people. So that's my number 1. The people, taking care of your people. So taking care of your people, number 1 is of course, your customer. That's the group of people you need to take care. Number 2 is your team. The people working with you. There's no, first choice, second choice, they're all equal. But normally I would put, of course, your customers want, and then you're taking care of your team. Also, you need to taking care of your suppliers, because if you wanted to do a business, you need all these 3 group of people. Most important, you're taking care of them, know what they want, make them happy, and building a strong relationship with them. So that's my number 1. Number 2 is to creating a supporting network around yourself, your family, your best friend, or maybe your uncles, aunties, or maybe other associations. Some people thinking similar like you. So they can support you when you feel down, and they understand your struggles. So this is one thing that I would highly recommend you guys to check out more about V2RF community. That's why we're creating this community, because I feel that support is so important, because all of us have a downtime, have the valley time, like a really, really bad, and everything go wrong around us. And at that time, are you giving up? Or if somebody around you tell you, I've been there, I was just there, just come out, and you will feel better. Somebody understands you, somebody can help you, also with a network around you. So number 3 is welcome change, and be a learning leader, always learning, always welcome change, and not stuck in a place thinking your way is the best way, or either your way or highway, right? And always try to thinking there's a better way, and open up your heart for any changes around you, and don't feel that's a negative, but embrace it as a positive if there's a change happening, even not the way you really want, but maybe they turn out it's really good, right? So this is many stories can prove that. If you look at them in a good way, they normally turn to a good way. If you look at them a bad way, they probably becoming worse. That's my personal experience. So hope, I'm sharing the knowledge can help you guys. But now I'm just wanted to encourage you guys to utilize the resource in the V2RF. It's all free. Any of you guys want to start a business, this definitely is a place. If you are already a business professional, or you have experience in your profession life or your jobs, and if you can share to contribute, we also really appreciate it, because we need more people like you to share, not just benefit from it. So this is my so basically I shared whatever I believe here. So hope you guys will take something useful for you.
Thank you very much, Winnie. I don't know if anyone has any questions, any additional questions for Winnie. Winnie, I have one question. So you also, you have told some of the good experiences, the ones that have grown, but did you also saw some not so good experiences? People that passed through tough times. You were their accountant, so you know what were their stories. So how did they handle it? Did they survive? What happened with the ones that didn't survive? How did they handle that stage?
There's a couple of stories I can share. One is a company bankrupt, like in my business. So one of our clients actually is a mill worker, and he is the one, his company actually making those carpentries for Starbucks. If you guys see in Vancouver, there's lots of Starbucks. Every time they have a new location, they needed to make all their counters, right? All their, the place they put all the coffee machines, whatever. Actually, it's a really good contract for this particular company. It's a small company, about 10 employees, and then an owner. And they're all really skillful to make those carpentry work. But the thing is that this owner is not handling cash flow really well. Every time he got a contract, Starbucks give him a deposit, like 30% deposit. It's quite a lot of money. And he constantly draw the money for himself and then not using all the money to buy the proper materials, and then not paying his employees on time and always late for their paycheck. And eventually he has several employees quit. He couldn't finish one contract job to give a Starbucks to get all their counters ready. And of course, the Starbucks come back to ask the money back or sue him, not sue him, like there's arbitrations issues going on. And he doesn't have money to pay the lawyers. He doesn't have the money to pay for, all those issues. And eventually he just filed a bankruptcy. This is one of the company, my early clients. And I saw exactly what happened in his business because he basically drained the company's cash. And eventually he doesn't have the cash to pay, because at the time I don't really know his personal life. So I don't know why he needs so much money to drain from the company. So this is one of the story. And another one is quite sad, the story. I have two clients. They're not family member, but they're business partners. So they start a very successful consulting business. They have a good contract from government, from hospitals, from universities. And their contract each time was $2-3 million. So the company is really growing. And they hired one employee, and then second, and then third. Eventually they hired, I think the biggest time they hired like 32 staff on their team. But in their 32 staff, there's 7 of them administration staff. So those 7 is not producing anything because each owner has one executive secretary. So they're not producing anything. They basically just help the 2 owners to scheduling, book their airplane ticket, like an office thing. And then they have an office manager. And then they have a purchase manager. Then they have somebody. So all those people, they're just administration's cost. And they're not facing the customer. They're not earning the money for their consulting business. But this one running for a couple of years when they have really good income, each year they have like several $1 million income. So eventually the 2 partners couldn't get along. One keep wanting to spend money, another one keep, wanting to save the money. So they have to have a partnership divorce. This costs both of them. One partner has to buy out another one. So basically drained off all their cash. In another way, the second partner bought the first partner out. The second partner is more like a doer, not really a manager or business owner mentality. and he kept 4 high-paid employees on the payroll 6 months more. So the payrolls basically eat up his cash reserve in the company when he doesn't have enough contract coming in. So these kind of a story, we see it in our clients' business. Of course, eventually this client built back his business. He started a new business, right? And but that's the real story. When you see the business going down or the contract is not coming in, you really have to cut down your expenses. Otherwise, all your reserve is gone.
And Winnie, would you make a suggestion to everybody to always have a mentor? Like, even though you're growing, always have a mentor on your side that could also guide you, give a fresh perspective on how you're doing or how you're going, and maybe make some critical decisions in a certain moments?
Of course, yeah. If you are lucky enough to have a mentor, and you should always to ask your mentors. But sometimes the mentor maybe not in your
Field.
industry, not in your industry. So they only can share their personal experience, but they're not able to give you the advice specifically for your industry. So I'm feeling you do need a mentor to coach you to becoming a business owner. I had a mentor myself, and they taught me a lot. But at the same time, maybe in the same industry, you should try to find somebody already been there, right? So they can guide you. And also financially, you truly need to watch your money. So that's on my number 3. On my another tips I can give to you guys to keep your business going. You really have to watch your money really closely to know where you're spending it, where you're earning it. And if the business is not really good, you have to cut down expenses, reduce your own lifestyle, reduce the staff. So this is why working for somebody else always sometimes got chopped off your job. Like my first story, I told you guys, his business from 30 employee and becoming 1. So, but he made the right decision at the time. He has to let everybody go and only keep 1 employee because his contracts dried up. Before all his contract come from high-tech industry, the high-tech bubble burst. There's no contract coming in anymore. So he has to let everybody go. But the thing is, this business owner still kept going because he reduces the staff level. He gave up his office rent, moved back to his garage. Of course, his expense dropped tremendously. Himself also doing some work, plus this 1 employee. But his profit is still there. He's still able to earn the money to support his family. So as a business owner, this is also a key point for sure. If you're doing managing your business, even your family finance, and never live beyond your means. If you're not earning that money, you don't deserve that holiday yet. You don't deserve that gift yet. If you don't have that money in your pocket,
you have to wait.
You really don't deserve it yet. Don't always feel, I work so hard. I put so much in. I moved to a new country. I'm so tired. I really deserve this indulgent, holidays, but I don't have money. I'm going to use my credit card or borrow a loan. And in that way, you're in more deeper, like a worse situation. And there's so many ways you can indulge in yourself in BC. So many beautiful sceneries. You can take a walk. You can do yogas. You can do, not costing things. You can do mindfulness and relax. You don't have to, always buy that expensive purse or go to that expensive dinner to indulge in yourself.
Well, thank you very much, Winnie. I think you gave a lot of knowledge, a lot of insights. Honestly, I stayed with 2 things that resonated with me a lot. First of all, you say that you have to pay the price maybe for the first 10 years. And honestly, this reminded me of a quote from Bill Gates that said, we overestimate what we can do in 1 year and underestimate what we can do in 10 years. So that's the first thing that honestly reminded me straight away. And the second thing is, I heard you that you started with a full-time job and you were doing this, your own accounting firm as a part-time job as well.
Yeah.
So that I heard also another woman called Lisa Nichols, that she told that, hey, it's good for you to see your full-time job. If you want to be an entrepreneur in the future, you can do it as a part-time job, and you can see your full-time job as your main investor. So that way you change the perspective, and you will treat well your main investor because he's investing in you for the future, for your future dreams. So yeah, so that really.
Oh, that's wonderful. I really like this perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you always do the best job for your day job. And that's why every single job I ever took, and before I wanted to quit, the owners always want to keep me. So I was thinking that says something, because you have that integrity to take that job seriously and really contribute to that company, thinking that as your own company to help them, and eventually they becoming your best supporters. And so I'm really fortunate for. So my first client actually come from, I was a poor student cleaning his house. That's how my first client came. I was cleaning his house and brushing the toilet bowls and doing the vacuumings. And then the wife said, oh, Winnie, you're taking accounting courses. Why don't you help my husband counting the receipts in the weekend? So that's
Winnie,
basically my first.
You haven't told that part of your life.
Yeah, that's my first client. So next time, tons of stories. Next time I'll tell you.
Well,
yeah, so
thank you very much.
It's
been wonderful. Yeah, it's been great. Well, I think we all enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. I think it's 8:30. I don't know if there's any last questions for Winnie. Well, if not, thank you very much. It's a great night. Have a great weekend to all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.